Hi guys, it's Amber here. If you're new, welcome to my channel. If you're not, then welcome back. So here I have is Gus. The reason why I have not been uploading is because I have been in active labor for a really long time. And I ended up having him. So I had him at 38 weeks and 3 days. He was 5 pounds and 15 ounces and very healthy. Nothing was wrong with him. Yeah, so he was so tiny that in the beginning we had to put preemie clothes on him. Preemie does not fit him anymore. He is 6 pounds and 6 ounces now. Probably even bigger than that. But he did really good. When we went to the doctors the next day, he did lose 3 pounds. But that's okay. It's normal with breastfeeding. Pretty much I'm gonna explain my birth story. I was gonna do a birthing vlog, but my hospital does not even allow you to record inside. So sorry about that. But okay, so early in the morning, August 13th, I want to say around 12 o'clock, I was already in active labor. I was 2 centimeters dilated and 75 evased. But the labor pains were getting so much worse. It was just getting worse and worse and worse. So 12 o'clock, around that time, I just told everybody that I feel like he's coming. Around, I want to say 2 o'clock is when my mom was out, and I called her. I told her she needs to come home now. She said, why? I said, because I am in labor, and I know it this time. Because I had 2 labor scares, and it was nothing. Obviously, the second one was something. It was pretty much telling me that he's coming soon. But the first one was just dehydration. So then, when she came home, I want to say around 5 o'clock. She was gone for a really long time. And I had it back. On 5 o'clock, she got home. We made our way to the hospital. The hospital was like an hour away. So, we got there. It was around 6 something. They told me that I am 6 centimeters dilated and I'm 100% effaced. So I was totally in active labor and I was not leaving the hospital. So I gave him my urine, went to my room. Once I got into my room, my labor pains were going crazy. I had a horrible experience at my hospital because, first of all, they wouldn't even let me walk. They wanted the baby on a monitor for like 40 minutes. I thought they... Oh, sorry. Hold on. Oh, sorry, my pump was by my dog. She was trying to eat it. But... Ooh, hold on, now I need to scratch my face. Okay. But... they wouldn't let me walk around. Wouldn't let me shower. They wouldn't let me do anything. So pretty much I was on my own with my pain. I was gonna try and go all natural, but that did not end up happening because they wouldn't even let me bounce on a ball either. When I say about an hour later, they want to come back and tell me I can bounce on the ball now. But that's when the epidural woman came in and told me that if I don't get an epidural now, I won't get it until really late. So I was like, should I just use the ball? Doesn't mean I can walk around, nor does it mean I can shower still for pain. It's literally just the ball. So you know what? I said, screw it. I'm going to get the epidural. Got the epidural. Horrible pain. Let me just tell you, my back was killing me. When they're shoving it in, you can feel it. You can definitely feel it. And the pain was going to my right, my left, and I kept having to say right, left, right, left. I was literally crying and holding the nurse's hand because they wouldn't let my husband in the room. Around 12 o'clock is when they told me that I was 10 plus centimeters dilated and he's ready. So I was just practicing pushing. When I was pushing, my head felt like it was about to explode. But then everybody really started coming in, and I started pushing. When I started pushing, I asked me to feel his head. I felt his head. My husband was getting really lightheaded because it was a mess down there. But I was trying so hard just to push and push and push. And around 2 o'clock, Gustavo was born. It was like 12:55, I believe. I was only pushing for an hour and a half. But I had a very big scare. Gustavo came out with his cord twice wrapped around his neck. And as I was pushing, it was pulling because I only had a short cord. So my husband didn't get to cut the cord. I didn't get to let it stop pulsing. They literally had to cut it dead in there, and it was doctors. A whole bunch of doctors came and pushed on my stomach because in the beginning, the woman told me that his heart rate was dropping and I need to push now and faster because his heart rate kept dipping. And that was because his cord was wrapped around his neck, and every time I pushed, it pulled. So it was just choking him. When all the nurses started pushing on my stomach, he came out, but he came out not breathing. He was dead. Once they cut the cord, took a second, and then he started crying. They also dislocated his shoulder in the meantime, trying to pull him because they were yanking at him. But he ended up being perfectly healthy and perfectly fine. But it was really scary. Kept asking my mom what's happening, and she wouldn't tell me. She said everything's fine, just keep pushing. But I knew something was up because all the nurses came and jumped on my stomach and started pushing really hard. Even though after that everybody was in the hospital really rude in the postpartum room, but I really thank the nurses and the doctor who actually saved my son, because that could have been an ugly situation. Then when we went into the postpartum room, I was trying to breastfeed. I was having a struggle latching him on, so I had to supplement with formula, which killed me the most. But I had to. And because he was so tiny and he was still trying to breastfeed, I had to use a syringe, and that was very difficult on my own. So my husband had to be awake with us. In this hospital, let me just explain to you, this hospital was horrible. What was happening was they were coming in every 30 minutes. I was not getting any sleep. I literally was driving myself into postpartum depression. I was crying hysterically. Kept telling my mom, I just want to go home. I just want to go home. So the next day, my mom ended up getting papers for us to sign, our discharge papers, and we ended up leaving because I'm going to state this now, and anybody can judge if they want, but this is my decision, and I've done my research, so has my family, and it's also against my religion, so I am doing this. My son is not circumcised, neither is he vaccinated. He has not had a Hep B shot, and he has not had the vitamin K shot, nor did he have the eye goop in his eye. All these reasons is because I had done research, and a lot of the research is just crazy to me. Yet again, I am Mormon, so it's against my religion. I truly believe in the non-vaccinating, because they'll tell you that your son will die if he's not. Well, he's not dead. He's perfectly healthy, and he's even gaining weight like crazy. But he was not vaccinated, and in the hospital, I sent out a birth plan to every nurse that came in. They all were horribly rude to me, sending me people in constantly to try and shove it down my throat that I need to get the shot. Also, we're shoving it down my throat because I'm breastfeeding, formula, this and that, and I couldn't breastfeed in that place because they wouldn't even send me a lactation. The woman came in and said I denied a lactation, which was such a lie because I wanted a lactation. I also asked about a breast pump, and they came in and handed me a regular hand pump. And I didn't care about the hand pump, but here's the thing. It took them 2 hours to do that. And then when they came back, she said, nobody told me that you wanted a pump. So, and one of the ladies was very rude. And I believe it had to do with my age and the shots, because they all were just looking at me really weird. And I thought it was so rude that they were even treating me like that. And coming in constantly when I kept asking them, please, I just want sleep. Please come back later. I know you need to check on the baby. Please just come back later. Because he was such a good baby, and he wasn't crying in the hospital until people came in and slammed the door. I also had a woman housekeeping. I said, hey, can you please come back later? She said, yes, of course. One woman comes in, and I asked her for pads and the ice packs. She came and put it in my bathroom, and the bathroom trash can was really tiny, and it was filled to the top because obviously I was using those underwear, the big pads. I was also using the ice pack. I was using like witch something. I don't even know if it was witch hazel. I'm not sure. It was like something like little like pads. And then spray and the squirt bottle. So there was tons of shit, and the trash can was completely filled to the top. Woman comes in and says, we don't live like filthy animals. And and said, you need to get this clean right now. This is dirty. We don't live like this. So, of course, woman's in there slamming things, blah, blah, blah. I even asked them to be quiet. Didn't. The day I was leaving, somebody puts on my door, "Be quiet when you walk in." This was when I was leaving. So I got no privacy there. I got no skin to skin with my son. Everything was basically taken away from me. At birth, I didn't even get to see him until 2 hours later. So everything was pretty much taken from me. Everything that I wanted to do in the beginning was taken from me. I was okay with the 2 hours because I knew that they had to check on his health. Oh, don't cry, puppy. Oh. Don't cry. Oh, you pooping. But I knew that was okay. But the second time, nothing should have been taken away from me. I had no comfort with my son whatsoever. Every time I tried, somebody came in and came in and came in and came in, and they never left. I even told them I didn't want breakfast or lunch or dinner because they all were gross, and yet they still bring it into me and be loud and slam doors. I didn't tell them it was gross, but I just said, "I'm good. I don't want any. I'm good. My husband's gonna go get me Starbucks," because there was Starbucks there. I literally drove myself so crazy that I had like 5 large caramel coffees from Starbucks, and that was in the amount of a day because I was so tired and so exhausted that I couldn't even see straight. And then we finally started to get sleep, and they come in again and again, and another person and another person, and I literally felt like I was gonna die. We finally were able to leave. When we left, everybody wanted to be nice to us, but my husband heard somebody talking about us before we left. So here's just a little tips and tricks. If you have a birth plan, be careful the way that you approach it, because a lot of places will judge. This was a Catholic hospital, but the people in there were not Catholic. I was very ashamed because when I went to go take the tour for the hospital, I was very happy. Very, very happy with the hospital. It was gorgeous. They had everything that I wanted. My husband could get Chick-fil-A. There was, what is it called? Subway in there. There was a Starbucks in there for me because I didn't drink coffee throughout my whole pregnancy. So, I got to have my coffee. It was just a lovely hospital all up until I had my son. It was not a lovely hospital no more. So, if you go to a hospital, you're not going to enjoy it because you don't want to sleep in that bed and you don't want to be in pain no more. And you just don't want nurses to be around you. But here's my thing. If you guys have nurses coming in every 30 minutes, it's going to drive you women to postpartum depression, and it's going to drive your husbands or boyfriends or fiancés to go crazy. Because I even had somebody hung up on the phone with me while I was trying to get my nurse in. She hung up on the phone. So just try and enjoy your hospital, because I definitely did not, and I will never go back there again. They didn't even answer barely any of my questions that I had. So I did not enjoy my hospital. So if you guys do end up having it at a hospital, just be very careful, because if I ever have a kid again, I'm doing a midwife, and it will be a home birth, or I will have the midwife actually come to the hospital so she can take care of everything, because that was so horrible. So that was my labor and delivery video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more, let me know.